What do you think should be done about these girls? Can anything be done about them at all? They've gone, they want to be there, and they're viewed as a potential threat if they come back.
I think once they've gone, there's not much our government can really do, because obviously we know there's a civil war taking place in the country. However, if they do want to come back, I can understand that some people feel that they're a threat, but there's a reason that they want to come back. And I think when you have Theresa May say that they won't be allowed back into the country, I think what we're doing is closing doors on British nationals. If anything, there's a possibility we can bring them here and encourage rehabilitation and use them as examples so that they can try to stop other young people from going to Syria.
Do you think, Mr. Phillips, that they pose a threat?
Threat, and it's not only these three. That's the key point. There are potentially hundreds of people in a similar situation, and it's going to be very difficult for the police and the security services in the UK if they do come back.
But I mean, what sort of threat could 16-year-old girls pose?
Well, of course, as was said in the audio, the video, that these people are being trained, and there are all sorts of things that are going on in Iraq and Syria that actually, if those things were brought to the streets of the UK, it would be a disaster. And you know, where we have issues that have happened in the past with people being attacked, this could be much worse for people that have had a degree of training.
I mean, Ms. Khokhar, there have been reports that some of the so-called jihadi brides are now being encouraged to be suicide bombers.
But there's a lot of propaganda taking place. I know you've just shown a report about, you know, a girl fleeing from there, but we don't really know whether it's authentic or not, because ISIS machine, this propaganda machine, is very, very good. So yes, there may be threat, but at the same time, if they are willing to come back, there's a reason they're coming back. If we're looking at 16 and 15-year-olds, they're young girls, they're children at the end of the day, and young kids make so many mistakes in life, and we have to be able to, you know, provide them the right services so that they can also, once they've learned from their mistakes, we provide them the right support.
But unfortunately, we do know what ISIS does. It seems, by our values, to be a pretty appalling organisation, executing people, carrying out suicide bombings and bits of other appalling acts. You know, you can't just say, can you, that people who've been exposed to that should come back and be treated with tender, loving care.
Well, I think if we're going to treat anyone who decides to come back into this country, or we go down the road of not allowing anyone back in the country, we have to then apply the same principle to other people, other nationals that go off to other groups around the world. For example, you have British nationals that go off to fight for the IDF, who is in essence killing innocent Palestinians.
I mean, Ms. Phillips, do you think this is a wider problem, or do you think this relates specifically to people who've gone out to support IS?
Well, I think the main difference here is that these people are being told to come back to the UK to attack their own country. Now, we do know of these three young ladies, and of course 15, 16-year-old girls are impressionable. One of the questions is, how do we stop them going in the first place? But when they come back, if we only know of the ones that we're aware of, we have all sorts of issues in tracking down and preventing really serious offences happening on the streets of the UK.
Ms. Khokhar, why do you think the girls do want to go out? I mean, after all, before they go, they'll have seen Western coverage of what's going on. What is attracting them to go to what some people have described as a death cult?
You have different cases. In some cases, with the younger ones, it's a grooming issue. There's a lot of mistrust with the government here. When they do see issues where, you know, like I mentioned before, Palestinians are being massacred, or now we've got the Rohingya Muslims being butchered, and the government stays silent, and in their eyes they're condoning these actions. So you become less impressed with your own government because you feel guilty that, you know, they're not doing enough. So it's easily brainwashing them into these ideologies, and then they think that they have something in common with ISIS because they're fighting the same cause. If anything, the government here needs to put right solutions in place by working with the Muslim community and not constantly stigmatizing and attacking the community.
I don't quite understand that, because ISIS is a Muslim organisation which is killing fellow Muslims.
ISIS isn't a terrorist organisation. I think when we bring religion into every single thing, we're actually tarnishing a religion. ISIS is a terrorist organisation, just like Israel is a terrorist state, just like there's other terrorist organisations. So we have to be very careful not to constantly tarnish the religion.
Well, you're the one who brought it up.
That's because you're constantly talking about the organisation like that. I just wanted to make it very clear that the Muslim community is constantly being either asked to apologise for this organisation. It has nothing to do with the religion. Just because they think that they're Muslims, it doesn't mean that they represent or are Muslims.
Okay, thank you both very much indeed.